Have you ever felt a place watching you? Not just the feeling of being watched, but the chilling certainty that the walls themselves have eyes, and the very air you breathe is waiting for you to fail? For urban explorer Ethan, this wasn't just a feeling. It was a terrifying reality. He stood before the old Blackwood Manor, a skeletal silhouette against a bruised, twilight sky. Locals whispered that the house was alive, that it fed on the sorrow of those who dared to enter. Armed with a flashlight and a camera, Ethan stepped across the threshold, the heavy oak door groaning shut behind him with a sound like a final breath. The air inside was thick and cold, carrying the scent of dust and decay. His flashlight beam cut through the oppressive darkness, revealing a grand staircase, its banister coated in a layer of what looked like dried, black ooze. Portraits with gouged-out eyes lined the walls, their painted smiles twisted into mocking sneers. Every floorboard creaked under his weight, the sounds echoing in the cavernous silence. He began his exploration on the ground floor. In the dining room, a long table was set for a feast that never happened, covered in a shroud of cobwebs. A child's rocking horse sat in the corner of a nursery, swaying gently on its own. Ethan documented everything, his heart a frantic drum against his ribs. He felt a growing dread, a sense of being an intruder in a place that was actively hostile. As he ascended the grand staircase, a faint melody reached his ears. A discordant lullaby played on a piano. The sound grew louder as he approached a closed door at the end of the hall. His hand trembled as he reached for the cold, brass knob. The music stopped the instant his fingers made contact. He pushed the door open. The room was empty, save for a grand piano in the center, its keys stained dark red. The window was open, the tattered curtains dancing in the sudden, cold breeze. That's when he saw it. Scratched into the dusty surface of the piano lid were the words, "Get out." Panic seized him. He turned to run, but the hallway he'd just come from had changed. It was longer, darker, the walls seeming to close in. The portraits were no longer smiling. Their faces were contorted in silent screams. A girl's laughter echoed from the shadows, a sound both innocent and utterly malevolent. He was no longer exploring. He was being hunted. He scrambled down the stairs, but they seemed to stretch into an impossible length. The front door, his only escape, was now gone, replaced by a solid brick wall. The house was playing with him, rearranging itself, trapping him in its labyrinthine heart. The black ooze on the banister began to drip, forming puddles on the floor that seemed to writhe with a life of their own. From the top of the stairs, a figure emerged. A small girl in a tattered white dress, her face a pale, featureless oval, her eyes two gaping black holes. She didn't walk, she glided, descending towards him without a sound. The temperature plummeted, and his breath plumed in front of him. The lullaby started again, this time coming from the girl herself, a horrifying, distorted hum. Ethan backed away, his flashlight flickering wildly. He stumbled into the dining room, knocking over a chair with a clatter that was instantly swallowed by the oppressive silence. The girl was in the doorway, her head tilted at an unnatural angle. The black ooze was now seeping from the walls, crawling across the floor towards him. He was cornered. The house, and the entity within it, was about to fade. In his final, desperate moments, he threw his camera at the girl. It passed right through her, shattering against the wall behind. The last thing his camera recorded was the girl's featureless face lunging forward, the screen dissolving into a vortex of screaming static. The Blackwood Manor still stands, silent and waiting. They say on quiet nights, you can still hear a distorted lullaby and the faint, terrified screams of its last visitor. The house is always hungry, and it's always waiting for someone new to come and play. If you enjoyed this story, hit that like button and subscribe for more tales from the shadows. Comment below with the scariest place you've ever been. Until next time, stay safe, and whatever you do, don't go exploring alone.